Two Poor Bastards contains explicit content and drunken ramblings. Listener discretion is advised. You are listening to Two Poor Bastards, where two friends get drunk, talk whiskey, and their favorite pop culture obsessions. This is Eric.
And this is Kyle.
We are in episode 4, and we are going to dig into E3. It was a big week. There's a lot of shit that was announced. And really, I was only maybe mildly excited about a tenth of them.
A couple things, caught my attention.
Couple things.
But it's been about the most exciting E3 that I can remember in recent time.
We'll loop back into that. Anyways, so what do we have for the whiskey this week?
All right, whiskey topic for today.
Ooh.
We've done bourbon. Now we're going to do some scotch. I don't want to, go after something a little more than everything else. It's truth be told, I do like American stuff better than the rest of it, but there are so many options out there, we can't shoehorn ourselves into one thing.
No.
So, for today's show, I picked up a bottle. I haven't had this before, unlike all the other things that we've tried so far. This I'm going into, you're going into, we're both going into this fresh.
Ooh.
I picked up a bottle of Aberlour 16 year.
Nice.
So I chose this one for a couple reasons. One is I'm a huge fan of Macallan. Really like their flavor profile. It is a sherried whiskey, so aged also in sherry casks to give it a certain flavor. I expect big things out of this. At a 16-year-old, it's surprisingly not impossible as far as price goes. I got this guy for about $70. $70 for a 16-year-old. Not too bad. And with that said, we're going to rip right into it. Smell it, taste it, talk about a few more things.
I just want to put it on my lips right now.
You're going to get it. Comes in a really good bottle. It's the glass on it.
So do I, ironically enough.
You come in I mean, I usually use a sock and call it a dream catcher at that point, but that works. That works. And also to note today, because we are drinking a scotch, I brought over some Glencairn glasses for us to drink it out of. A Glencairn is a certain style. Really what it does is it kind of channels the smell up to your nose and get a good whiff of this shit.
I can smell it from here. Cheers, motherfucker.
Cheers. So, taking a smell here.
Yep.
I am really, really hit with like super fruit smell right away.
Yeah, it's
really intense.
It's very wine-y, I guess. The best adjective I can find right now.
Sure it doesn't whine as much as I do either.
Well,
but that was like really impactful. I really like the nose on this.
I'll be honest with you.
Great.
When you smell it, it almost doesn't smell like scotch or whiskey at all. I mean, I thought I was
No, it doesn't. This is
wine.
like more on the brandy
Yeah.
side as far as the smell goes. It smells fucking great.
Yeah, are we ready to
I could sit here and smell this for a long time, but I mean, we got to get on with this show. We're gonna sit here.
For sure.
It's not gonna suck itself, so we're gonna drink this shit right down. So first thing I notice is that the flavor is nowhere near as intense as the nose on it is.
Very mild flavor. As you said, the nose it's almost overwhelming, but then to actually taste it, as you said, it's very mild. It doesn't It doesn't have much of a punch, I suppose. But it tastes delicious.
But it has kind of a punchy flavor, like
fruit punch. Yeah, exactly.
Like this Hawaiian, I'm getting a little bit of Hawaiian punch out of this shit.
I think we may have just discovered their fucking secret. They just dump some fucking Hawaiian punch in that shit and call it a day.
So Hawaiian punch, definitely a little bit of baking spices, light smoke, which is good. I don't like the smoky, peaty, or iodine-y flavors to really overpower it like some scotches do.
Now hit it again with your nose, because after drinking it, it's taken on a different. I'm picking up something different now that I've had a swig of it.
We are letting it open up a little bit. I mean, we went right to bottle to nose, so that's one thing. It could sit for a little bit, but that's definitely part of it. I mean, I'm still getting that fruit. It's like berries, like berry type fruits, a little bit of citrus too.
It reminds me of a little bit of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like in the water.
In the water?
The milk.
When I was really poor, I ate cereal with water. Put some water in that shit.
No. In the milk, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is soaked in for a little bit, and then you go in for that last morsel. It kind of has that smell to it. I'm pretty sure that their company would not want to be referred to as the Cinnamon Toast Crunch of Scotch.
Who knows? Maybe they eat that shit there and they love it. It's like when they got it this way, they're like, we got it just right. It is very, like, the taste of it, the mouthfeel. It's pretty mellow on the light side. Almost getting like white raisin a little bit too.
Yep. Okay, that's a good one.
This is bottled at... All right, this is an even 40%. For some reason, I thought it was a little over 40. Definitely could benefit from a little bit stronger proof. I think that would really up the ante on it, but...
Is there such a thing for this that you found that would be a stronger proof?
Oh, absolutely. So this same company, Aberlour, has a cask strength version. I'm probably murdering the name because of all these Scotch words, but it's Abunna or something like that. It's a non-age stated, but cask strength version of their stuff.
So it may be light on the age side, but strong as fuck?
It's, definitely, like, it's supposed to have... I've had it before, but I don't remember because I was, like, neck deep and drinking a lot of shit a night over at Merlin's Rest.
Gotcha.
And they got a lot of scotches over there, so I was going through quite a few that I wanted to try. So I don't really remember that one, but people do say it has more of the sherry flavor coming out at you. This one, not so much.
So that particular night, how drunk did you get?
On a scale of 1 to 10,
yeah,
it was like a Kyle.
So you were trashed. You were.
I was.
Did you black out?
No.
You were not confident in that answer.
Well, I was just thinking, like, I was talking to someone at work about getting drunk, and I was just like, yeah, I fell asleep without realizing it. He's like, that's blacking out. And I was like, no, blacking out's a little different, because that's like totally losing control. You don't remember what happened or anything. I remember just being there and really tired and falling asleep.
Blacking out is more, say, you are doing one activity, and then you wake up doing a different activity and have no idea how you ended up in that place.
Right. And like the last time I was really, really shitty, you were with me. We were at the bar.
Yeah.
Like, I was in a really bad place. I hadn't puked in the longest time before that, too, and I did, but I was still full aware of all my things. There was no blacking out or forgetting stuff.
I looked at your bar tab, just because we stopped at a place before we went to Transmission, I believe. We were at...
Did we go to Sweeney's and then go to Transmission?
We went to Sweeney's or the Muddy Pig, one of the two.
Okay, so it was one of those.
So we had a drink or two there.
So we
and
pre-gamed
then
before we gamed.
Yeah. And then the bar tab at the end of that night, I was like, you're poor. There's no... What? How...
You were nice enough to drive, so I got loose.
You definitely got loose. What? I'm trying to remember that. I mean, I didn't get as loose like because I was driving, so I was the designated driver.
Maybe we'll cut that part out.
I drank responsibly and cut myself off early in the night to be able to drive.
You did. You
And
definitely did.
obviously,
And
you got home
You
safe.
took care of my.
And then you lost your glasses out the window going down 94.
Yeah, on the drive back, I was really hot. I had to, drop the window and put my face out. And the glasses that I was wearing at the time, they were always sliding off my face anyways, but the wind caught them just right, and they right off my face onto the highway, and that was it.
They're probably still there.
Oh, I'm sure the plows
Oh,
took care of that a long time ago.
so it's in the Mississippi now.
Yes.
Going to it's probably halfway to the ocean or to the ocean already. Thanks for contributing to pollution. It's cool.
I am adding to the delta, the creation of land at the mouth, the end of the Mississippi River.
Is it ass to mouth? How does that work? Is that like the human centipede?
Well,
but
if we're
with a
talking
river?
about where we are and they are, it was definitely mouth to ass, because I would like to consider us the mouth.
That's true.
And all the stuff that flows out at the end of the Mississippi, that's definitely the ass.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, back to the.
So this mouthfeel, not quite as intense, a little bit thin. It's good. I like it.
I don't honestly I don't have any complaints for it may be a little thin on the mouthfeel, but
Like the proof, I wish the proof was up. At least 45% alcohol, and I think that would do it a lot of favors. If anyone's drinking this and they're adding water to it, I think that would really fuck it up.
yeah.
It might make it smell different or whatever. It might open up the nose on it or do something to it, but I don't think it would do any favors for the taste on it.
No, there's not much there. So
Finish-wise, kind of short and sweet.
literally
Yeah.
short and sweet.
I mean, ideally, I would like to try this against the 12-year-old version and then the cask strength. Looking up some other people's thoughts on it, a lot of them had suggested, well, maybe the 12's a better option at the lower price and the taste that it brings, but
So were they saying that the 12 and the 16 essentially weren't that much of a difference, and that you get a better value for the 12?
better value on the 12 maybe. I mean, they said it wasn't too much more complex than the 12-year-old, but hey, everything's older has got to be better in the whiskey world, right?
Right.
Not always.
No.
This is good. I mean, at $70, and it was like 75 with the tax and everything. It's pretty solid.
I'd say this goes up against a McCullen or Glenlivet just fine.
If I had my choice to buy either a Macallan 12 or this, I would probably opt for my tried and true Macallan, to be honest.
We'll have to test that out.
Oh, we'll definitely test it out in the future here.
I need to get me some of that. I haven't had that in a long time, so we're going to do it.
I like it. And, difference is, okay, this is a 16-year-old, this is $70. When we start getting up in age in Macallan, like 18-year, then we're looking at 200 plus for one of those. So it's quite a difference in price. But being a not very wealthy person and being someone who's trying to switch things up and have a different bottle every week, this fits more into
Your
how
budget.
things can go. Like,
Now, you could have dug into some of your Japanese whiskeys.
oh, we'll definitely do Japanese whiskeys. And in fact, I think we should double up on one episode, Japanese and Scotch. And I want to blind taste test you and see what you think.
I'm about it.
I'm about it.
We going to do that. All right, so what else do you have to add to the...
So other thing to note, this is from the Speyside region. I mean, there's a bunch of different regions where scotches come from, and each has usually their like specific taste profiles.
Gotcha.
I typically tend to go towards the Highland stuff, but like Speyside would probably be a close second for me. In the future, we'll probably do a show where we talk about all the regions and what they bring to the table.
Sure. So what, with scotches, what is the defining characteristic or differences between regions? Is it how they age it? Is it the water that they use? How does...
A big one, most of the time if you're getting a what they call single malt whiskey is they just use barley. Things that are blended, say for instance Johnny Walker, it could be barley and other grains that are mixed together after they've been aged, whatever. I mean, usually single malt is a better quality product, but that's not always the case. I mean, more often than not it will be better, but not always the case. A blend can be awesome.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely. Jameson is a blend, and it's... I know that you don't drink it anymore, but
Not
as far
anymore.
as an introductory product, it's a pretty good thing for a blended. If you're just getting into it, and you're
Sets
trying
you
to
on the
acclimate.
right road, yeah.
Right. If you're trying to acclimate your palate to whiskey, or you're not used to drinking things on the rocks or say straight, Jameson's a good place to start, and then you start to develop your taste from that point.
I'm getting dried apricot now. Like, I really just got a full-on blast in the mouth of apricot. This is definitely the fruitiest whiskey I've ever had. And that's really cool. And, again, I could just sit here and smell this forever.
The funny thing with this is that as I, in between sips, with the smell coming out of the glass, it almost feels like I'm drinking wine a little bit. Like, just the smell, the aroma from it. And then I take the sip, if you will, just the sip.
Just the sip.
And
how much do you want?
Just the sip.
Just the sip.
Said no one ever.
No, I want it all.
You can never go just the sip.
Just the base.
So
Just skip right by that.
Yeah, just the base. I pulled that maneuver on someone. I mean, not in real life. I said the words "just the base," and the look of confusion, obviously, that comes from it was classic. But then I had to explain what that actually meant, and not having any idea, because it's just made up and is not meant to make any sense. It really killed the joke. I'm just gonna say that.
Some people just don't have a sense of humor that works well. Yeah, pour some more of that shit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The other thing I want to say about it is, I said earlier it was a sherried whiskey, and with that, what happens is this particular one is matured in two different styles of barrels. So you've got ex-bourbon barrels from America, which quite a lot of Scotch companies buy the barrels from, companies here in America and use those to age their whiskeys. So in addition to being in an ex-bourbon barrel, it is also aged in sherry casks. Most likely Oloroso is that's the majority of what it is. And that tends to add kind of a reddish color.
I was just going to say, this has a very cherry, not amber, but like a cherryish tint, a wine tint.
It's definitely, it's quite dark.
Yeah.
For a 16-year-old. And hopefully that's because of the sherry casks and not because of any kind of artificial coloring. Some companies do that. A lot of them are getting away from it. But also, I tend to think that the color is so dark because there is also a difference in fill in barrels. So you can have a first fill, which, like the name implies, this is the first time that this barrel is being filled with something else. So you got your sherry cask, got emptied, got sold to the whiskey company. They got it. They're filling it up with stuff. Then there's second fill or whatever. So after the first fill has been dumped, they put another one in there. And because that first fill is in there absorbing all the goodies, basically, from the barrel.
Give me them goodies.
Yeah, it doesn't impart as much into the second fill. So I've seen some stuff that has been aged only in sherry casks, so not in bourbon ones as well. And it's second fill. Color is very, very, very light. So
interesting. I'd almost think, I guess now that you're saying it, it makes sense. But I thought the more times you use it, the more things you're imparting into the barrel. But I guess the reality is you're putting whiskey instead of wine.
Right.
And so obviously it's going to lighten as you reuse those.
Yeah.
So do you know how often they reuse sherry casks at all? Is it like a typical
I don't,
amount?
and I'm sure most of the distilleries don't really disclose it either. Because, I mean, is it going to be first fill or is it going to be 13th fill? I mean, who knows? At that point, it's like, why even use it, really?
Well, yeah, and that's kind of my thought is, is there a guiding principle to, best implementation of a flavor and aroma onto a whiskey is really my thought. And as you say, the more you run it through, the lighter it gets. And at that point, you're really, what is the why bother factor? When do you reach that point?
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah.
Like 45 minutes in, an hour in, like...
It's with Scotch, it's not as rigid as bourbon with what you do. Like, I mean, to be a bourbon has to be brand new charred oak, and that's it. And that's like they use it, and that's why they sell it off and use it in Scotch.
Do you know how people started using charred? Like, I read a thing that using charred oak barrels is actually a very old practice, predates America. That Scottish folks but do you know?
I do know.
I'm interested. Tell me, please. Lay it on me.
Actually, I'd like to save that for a future episode when we talk about the whiskey that was the first. The person was the first one to do that.
Wow. Okay.
So stay tuned in the future. We have lots of shit to talk about.
All right. Cool. So is that conclude your your juice piece?
This concludes my whiskey talk for this week. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to try the other ones out, but I'm definitely not disappointed with this particular one.
If you had to rate it, what would you give it? On whatever you want to grade it on.
I'd give it like 6 Schlitzes.
Mm-hmm.
Out of maybe 9. 6 out of 9.
All right.
On the Schlitzes.
The Schlitzes. That is amazing.
Scale.
All right. So
would drink again.
Yeah, would definitely get schlitzed 6 more times at least. Mm-hmm. So we're going to change up the format just a little bit, interject a little bit of kind of just random banter, and give some updates. So 2pourbastards.com is up and running, very exciting.
We have a
website. It's unfortunately not a GeoCities.
No GeoCities.
GeoCities.
I mean, that shit's shut down, so we can't use that, unfortunately.
And it's not made in bad HTML. I didn't have to hammer out any code. It still sucked. So forgive the website because I had to hand construct this.
Eric did a very good job. Like, I don't know how to computer or internet, so I'm very impressed.
Well, it involved me getting really mad and stepping away for like half a day and coming back to it, and some alcohol was involved to get me through the process. But it's coming into its own, and by the time everyone hears this particular episode, I think it'll be fairly well along.
We should iron out the kinks.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to iron out all the kinks. I mean, a little kink is good.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, too.
All right. So one little thing I want to add. So anyways, interjecting slightly a third kind of piece into this, which just allows us to try to stay on point because our episodes run recording wise. What you actually hear versus what is actually recorded is huge. So
we got to trim down quite a bit.
So the first episode ran 4.5 hours record time. The second episode, 3 hours. Third episode, 3.5 hours. So we'd like to narrow down the runtime with this so I don't have to spend a week pulling my hair out trying to edit all this shit down. So to keep the pieces concise and not me drunk and rambling, and that's the thing is like I don't want to listen to my own voice.
I don't want to listen to my own voice
for that long. If I can get in and get out in like a day and a half of editing, I'll be a happy guy.
It sounds like most of my relationships. Just get in and out in a day and a half and it's over.
Is that less of a relationship and more of just interaction?
I take what I can get.
Well, fair enough. Me too. So
I'll call it a relationship. It'll make me feel better.
Oh, there you go. You're really good at dating and getting into
I am really, really good at first dates. Like, I am the first date king. But then for some reason after that, it's...
Is it after you get naked or...
sometimes not at all.
Oh, fair enough.
I mean, I'm sure that's frightening as well.
Well, you are a giant, so...
I am kind of freakishly tall.
It's all right. So I read this article, and I should have said it at the end of your whiskey piece, but I didn't. Whatever. Next time I'll get it right. Whiskey article. So I was reading this thing today on Reuters where they're talking about they're now growing corn specifically for distilling whiskey, and they're growing specific strains of corn with different, I suppose, taste notes.
I'm sure that could be a thing.
Yeah,
because I like for certain different ryes from different regions, like the stuff that grows in America tastes a lot different than the stuff that grows in Canada. So I can definitely see that being a thing.
Yeah. So what I read is that there's already small batches of like heritage corn that are run in very small batches, but I think it's the University of Texas, of course. I mean, and I support that. This program I support. I'm all about it. So what they're doing is that they're growing different strains of corn with different taste profiles, and then I think essentially looking to sell them to distillers as unique bourbons, I suppose.
Like this, it's like the saffron rice of corn. Like,
yes.
You need this if you want to do this.
As opposed to like the basmati.
Yeah, or just plain ass long grain.
Yeah, fuck that shit. So I thought that was an interesting, now that we're doing the podcast, I'm just more attuned to shit that I see in my daily life involving whiskey and things that are going on. And I just thought that it makes sense, with the whiskey craze as it's going on, and that bourbon specifically has the highest growth margin over all other types of whiskey. So it makes sense that they would try to develop corn with different profiles. So there's that.
I saw a thing, on National Bourbon Day, which was a few days ago.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot who tweeted it, but they said, did you know that 95% of the world's bourbon is distilled in Kentucky? And then said, did you know that 100% of bourbon worth drinking comes from Kentucky? So if it comes from somewhere else, fuck it. Which I might be guilty of thinking the same thing. And you know what? Going off of our Michter's episode, I saw something very interesting in the liquor store the other day that blew my mind. So I'm looking through. I see a single lone fancy bottle sitting by itself. I go up to take a closer look at it, and it's called the Baumberger's Declaration. So if you remember, Baumberger's was the old distillery which Michter's came from which the people who acquired the Michter's name kind of effed out the people who were trying to use Baumberger's again. Dick Stoll being one of them. So I see this bottle, Baumberger's Declaration. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Declaration.
You're just so excited. It's okay.
I am. I'm really pumped up about this because it blew my fucking mind. So I take a look at this bottle and I read. There's a little note on a thing hanging off the shelf underneath it, and it's like specially selected by. And who's the first name on this fucking list? Dick Stoll. So it's like, what happened with what I know, the problems with Michter's and this? Like, did they make up, like kiss and make up with Dick Stoll? Did they just like throw him a fucking bone and have him to come and be someone who chose this?
Throw me a bone so I
don't know. And like, I tried to do some research on it as soon as I got home because I was like, what the fuck? And I can't find anything on it. I might be too new. I almost bought the bottle. Like, I wanted to.
How much was it?
It was $69.
It's not terrible.
Not terrible, and this is, again, a Total Wine, so the price is probably a little bit lower. But the thing that really caught my eye was bottle number 1,499 out of, like, 1,600 bottles. So there weren't very many of it.
No, that is truly a low batch.
So it's real small. So I was like, this is intriguing. Very low run. There's no age statement on it. But this one guy, he was on the committee of people who, specifically chose this particular whiskey. And the thing that really did it for me was when I looked on the back of the bottle. It said distilled in bottled at the Michter's distillery. So this shit couldn't have been more than, say, 3 years old.
Wow, okay.
So that right away, I was like, no way. If it was one of the older sourced ones, then I'd be like, ooh, this might be a really cherry bottle that they all, or barrel that they all decided on. But that did it for me.
Okay.
I'm sure it tasted like a mouthful of chewed up peanuts, which is I mean, this is an actual thing. If you taste a whiskey and it kind of tastes like that, like you're chewing up a bunch of peanuts, most likely it's a really, really young. Because I found that's a kind of a flavor profile that very young, usually around 2-year-old whiskeys have.
That is good to know. And didn't you say that there was an impact on the color as well? Typically of younger
ones aren't going to be as dark, but then again, who knows who's adding color to it. That's one of the reasons why I said fuck you to cognac, because I thought I'd be cool and be like, I'm drinking cognac. But I found out a lot of these places add coloring and like caramel flavoring to their thing. So it's like, why even bother with this stuff if they're adding artificial flavors in it and I'm not getting the real thing? So, bug it.
You're all about the real thing.
I'm all about the real thing.
Get real in that.
I want a raw dog.
I
want pure, unfucked with juice.
Yeah.
Give me the juice.
So you can get loose. Yeah. All right. The other little thing I want to go into is being on Netflix, watching shit. And you get that point where like you're after work, you're going home, or you're bored on the day off, and you're looking for something you've seen absolutely everything you can. Mm-hmm. And there's like that one movie that you're like, that's really lame, I'll never watch it. And then you get to that point in your life where you're like, fuck, I'm gonna
watch it. I kind of do that with Nicolas Cage movies. Like, truth be told, I'm probably the world's #1 Nicolas Cage fan. I fucking love Nick Cage.
I could already tell you that's not true. And I know that's not true because I've seen your house. It's not plastered in Nick Cage posters or artwork.
Well, I gotta keep that shit hidden. If I have someone come over and they see him, like, the bedspread with him laid out on it without a shirt on, that's gonna scare some people away. More so than, like, the slightly satanic artwork that I have in my place.
Yeah, the vaguely satanic or the overtly satanic is fine. Nicolas Cage, you could do is post a Nick Cage piece on the ceiling so that when you're with a lady, you could look directly into Nick Cage's eyes while you're getting busy.
It's like the part from Con Air where he gets off the airplane and his hair is blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
Whose fake hair was that? It wasn't his.
No. All right. So anyways, I had settled on a movie that had gotten a bad review. I wasn't that excited about it, but I'm like, fuck it, whatever. So it was Anon or Anon. So it's Clive Owen and Amanda Seyfried. To which I didn't even know she was in the movie. Like, I didn't get that far in because just...
What is it called?
Anon.
Like,
Anonymous.
short for anonymous?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. So the premise of the movie is basically we're sometime in the future where they're recording every single memory that you have, and then they can replay it.
I remember seeing a little preview for that while stuck on, like, main page Netflix. Yes.
Yeah, see?
Okay.
There you are. They were pimping that shit hard. I'm like, I already got through Jared Leto's The Outsider, so, like, this was, like, I'm like, fuck it.
I watched all of that, too. I don't know why. Maybe I just needed to complete it just because.
Yeah. The Outsider's a whole other thing. But, so anyways, I had some thoughts. Like, number one, I didn't realize that Amanda Seyfried is in it, and she gets naked.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know
who
she is specifically. Maybe if I saw her, I'd
She's
remember.
in Mamma Mia. She's in all these movies that I don't like or watch.
Okay.
But she's the thing is, like, you would never assume, because just how they cast her typically is like a blonde bimbo or the innocent one. And so you don't really get, she's not in roles where she gets to be an object of desire a lot of times. And I didn't realize it was her until after the movie, she rolled up because she has different color hair. She looks totally different. Man,
it would have been awesome.
She's a good looking lady, and she gets naked. Like,
really hoping you would say you didn't realize it was her until you saw her. And then I went, that would have been really funny. It's still funny.
It's still, yeah. No, I didn't recognize her. So, the thing though is, like, kind of with everything that's going on in society right now and looking at it, I kind of felt weird. I feel like conflicted at now. Like seeing female nudity now in a movie, like it's like, is it okay to like think this is cool or good, or is it like how do I talk about these things anymore? And it's like, well, there's no male nudity.
And is it necessary? Was it necessary for her to be naked in this movie?
Right.
Was that even a thing?
Was. I do feel in the context of the scene and what was going on, it made sense because she was basically got nude because they hacked her brain or hacked her feed, and so she got naked and was looking at herself in the mirror to distract all the police pervs from what's going on. And of course, it's always Clive Owen, who he was above that shit, and so he was looking at what else was going on, but she was specifically using it as a way of distraction. But it's like, should there be male nudity? Should Clive Owen got his dong and like dong out? I don't know.
It's, Spartacus or Game of Thrones. You got some dude nakedness.
Yeah,
Spartacus it was on full blow too.
Oh, dude, it was like that was a ridiculous movie. That was terrible, and I apologize for that. But I feel like as a male actor, like that's like a real thing you got to choose. And I was like, do I show my schlong or do I not?
Do you dong out or not?
Exactly.
You better, man.
You better.
Equal opportunity.
Absolutely. So I was thinking like, well, if I was a serious actor, I would. If that was the thing, like, you know what? I'll do it. I will go full Tom Hardy. I will wear a foreskin prosthetic.
Grease
to
me
go
up.
all the way.
Have another guy be naked. Have another guy grease you up and get ready to fucking brawl.
Yeah, because that's one dude who is not afraid of going all the way for whatever role he's doing. He gets naked a lot.
Full force.
Full fucking force. So that was my little thought, my little brain thought while watching that movie was this movie is really bad, and so it got me into thinking about other things, and male nudity was one of the things that I was thinking about.
Going off of that, and another Netflix show like Glow. With the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. Like, I forget if it's the first or second episode. I can't recall her name, who plays basically the main character. Like, she's naked.
Allison Brie.
Banging some dude, and it's like, why? It really didn't... it didn't add anything to it. So, sure, she's having an affair with a married guy. But was that really necessary when none of the show has anything else or it even comes close to that? It was like it was forced in as the first episode or second episode.
Was it forced in or?
It wasn't even like, here's an attention getter. Like, here's this. Now watch it. Watch more. There's so much more to it.
I read a thing that Alison Brie agreed to do because I don't think has appeared nude in her other roles, and I think this is like the first time, and I don't remember the context of why she did it, but it was one of those things where she did it for this particular thing. But Glow has one of my like TV crushes, which is Betty Gilpin, who plays her blonde, who plays the wife of the husband.
Yes.
Oof. And it's her voice that does it for me.
There is something about that.
Voice?
There's a voice thing that definitely does it. Like, maybe it's because I have a shitty sounding voice that I like it. I don't know. Maybe.
Because she was in Nurse Jackie. That's where I first saw her. And she kind of plays the dumb doctor who's kind of slutty and like basically faked her way through med school. Then she was in a few episodes of Sherlock playing Johnny Lee Miller's girlfriend, like autistic girlfriend. And then she was in American Gods for a couple episodes.
All these things I haven't been able to see.
I'm sorry for you. Anyway, so like at first you're like, oh, you're from another thing. And then you look, you do the IMDb thing. You're like, oh, that's where I recognize you from. But yeah, something about her voice just like she's a pretty lady, but that voice does it for me. I'm telling you.
And going off of that, one of my TV crushes is also on that show, and their name is Mark Maron. I fucking love that guy.
I think he's your TV dad.
He is me in like 20 years. Like that is the person I am.
Yeah, but I don't think you hate life as much as he does.
Oh, man. You have no idea.
Fair enough.
I hate life. I talk about how much I hate it, and like my sense of humor is totally self-depreciating, and I say like, I hate myself. I wish I were never born. Like I want to die. And I recently met a girl who has exactly the same sense of humor, and it's just like, this is so awesome, refreshing, and just it's like I'm home. This person gets me.
You're home. You finally found home. Amazing. Good
Yes.
for you. Now, hopefully it lasts more than 5 months. The last thing I want to talk about, and I actually had a debate. Today at work, I debated why I think The Walking Dead is the dumbest show ever, and it pisses me off.
Let's get into this.
So here's the thing. For me, I only ask whatever television show to follow their own logic. Whatever rules that they create in the world that they establish, follow it. If it's campy, cool. I can get into it. I can suspend my disbelief. I know that there are hyper-realistic or fantastical elements of the show. The Walking Dead presents itself as a very serious, realistic take on a zombie apocalypse. And it has very established rules within it.
Drama, if you
A
will.
drama, indeed. Here's my problem. How long has that show been going on?
Fucking forever now.
Right. So let's just say, let's pretend 5 years. Let's say we've only seen 5 years in actual Walking Dead timelines. And I think there's been time jumps and shit like that. So it might even be more. Here's the thing, though. In real life, a corpse out in the wild would be rotted in a year. You have exactly 1 year of mass zombie threat, and that's it. That's all you got. And let's just pretend that there's a supernatural element so that maybe bacteria and scavengers don't start eating those corpses. Atoms and cells still decay. They fall apart. Atoms become unstable at a certain point in time, and you just start to degrade. So even if, say, you're immune to scavengers and bacteria and viruses breaking your body down, you would still just eventually just fall apart anyways. And they have established that zombies rot in that show because I've seen plenty of them in different states of composition. So there is a logical through line that they decompose. Why are there still zombies on The Walking Dead at this point? Unless it's a fresh one.
I mean, well, yeah, more people are getting killed. Maybe there's a lot of people getting killed lately.
And so the funny thing is the zombie craze is such a serious topic that it's been actually tackled by the Department of Defense and other groups that have done, like, what if this actually happened? So if a zombie apocalypse, and again, I don't remember where I got this from, so I can't quote it, and I could be off, and that's fair. I'm willing to admit that. But I do believe that I read that essentially 70% of the world population would die in the first year. If a zombie apocalypse happened, 70% of the world gone. Okay?
Yeah.
So you've got a bunch of corpses at that point. But within a year, or maybe 2 years, that initial 70% would just be skeletons. So you're left with 30% of the world population after the first, say, 2 years. So 30% of 6 billion is not that much. It's not even a billion people, right?
Sustainability.
Size. Right, so it's become sustainable. But still, at that point, so you wouldn't even see zombies very much, except the freshly turned. And at that point, you would know. So in the show, it establishes that if someone dies, you get them through the head to not let them turn. So they would already know at a certain point in time to not allow them to make more zombies, right? So you have that aspect of it. So they're not perpetuating it. They're not keeping it going. Then the third thing that pisses me off about that is the world wouldn't turn into a Mad Max, like wasteland where everyone is like in these like super insidious gang. It doesn't make any sense for people to live as gangs at a certain point. Like, you have to have people with different skill sets to raise crops, to repair things, people with different skill sets to come together to perpetuate the rest of humanity. You wouldn't roll from one next supervillain to the next supervillain. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, like, all of those things in the show pissed me off. And so I had a very heated debate with a coworker about this. And they were just like, no, you're wrong. That's stupid. People are terrible. I'm like, yeah, but if most of the world population died off and you needed other people's skill sets to live,
It'd be pretty fucking nice.
you'd probably figure your shit out. Right now we're a little, like, we take everything for granted, and I could call someone on this handheld device and order shit and not have to do anything for myself. In a world that doesn't exist, you got to figure it out. So I'm just saying, based on its own logic, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but how successful of a show is that going to be if within a year, so they can keep going and going and going forever this, so they're going to beat this dead horse as much as they possibly can.
It's like our society has like an apocalypse fetish right now, and everyone everything is post-apocalyptic right now. But I think that would be a more interesting show to now show the rebuilding of society, but still have the threat of zombies coming back and having to live through that. That would actually be interesting. Like, hey, we're rebuilding society, but if someone dies and you don't know it and they attack, like, that's still a real threat. And then also having to rebuild from scratch. Like, there's no electricity, there's nothing. So
I could not live. This is a world I could not live in.
Right. I'm just saying there is potential there to be very interesting. That's what I'm saying. That's my bit for this middle segment, my little rant and rave, if you will.
People don't want reality; they want the fantastical.
I fucking know, but it's
yes, yeah. I mean, logically, yeah, but they wouldn't do that. The show's too successful for them.
I know, but here's the thing: if it's and not to say like, hey, Eric, you're thinking too much on it. No, I could enjoy schlock. I love schlock. If you presented a schlock and you are kind of like, hey, this is ridiculous, I'm totally into it. I love Into the Badlands. It's a ridiculous, like, kung fu, post-apocalyptic, Western show. It doesn't make any sense, but I love that show. So I'm saying I can suspend my disbelief. But when you're positing some heady fucking drama bullshit and you start to bend your own logic just to beat a dead horse, as you say, I just can't do it. Plus, that show is so fucking boring. It's so boring. Anyways, that's my piece. I know that I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but I'm just saying I don't like Walking Dead.
Can't get as much hate as the hate that I assigned to myself.
No one will hate as much as you hate yourself.
Yeah, as much as you hate me, know this: it's not as much as I hate myself.
Fair enough. So let's slide into the main topic for the night.
Main topic of the night, we're going to talk about what we are interested in that was announced at E3. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of shit. And like I said earlier, this is probably the most exciting E3 that I can remember. But there's only a handful of things that I'm really pumped about. There are some things that I really question, that I'm not into.
Yes, there was plenty of that.
But we aren't going to go through and talk about everything. We'll just talk about, what we like or what we thought was dumb. So Indeed. I'll kick it off. I think the thing that I am most excited about, I mean, there's two things that I'm super excited about, but the one thing that really fucking gets me going more than anything else is the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Holy shit. Yeah. On a scale of 1 to boner explosion, it
It's
like
spectacular
hot
style. Dog in the microwave too long.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. I saw that, and it's like my childhood dream came true. it's definitely the member berries aspect, like speaking through like, hey, the thing you loved as a kid, we're gonna redo it better now, yay. So,
I mean, hopefully, Capcom's a different company than it used to be. Like, Capcom used to be fucking awesome. Now Capcom's doing a lot of things that make me say, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Not as much as Konami.
yes,
But, I mean, they're doing some weird things. So, like, I really thought that Remake, the GameCube update to the original Resident Evil, was one of the most fucking amazing games ever made. Like, when they remade that game, they fucking did it right. The one thing that I really liked about it was the graphical style. They kind of, like, not the 3D stuff, but the pre-rendered backgrounds were just taken to a whole new degree. And the awesome thing is you can go back and play a PlayStation game, and if it has pre-rendered backgrounds in it, that shit holds up today. Yep. That is artwork. Somebody did this art on a 2D plane to look 3D. Fantastic. Now, the polygons and the shit in it might be really bad, but that's always going to hold up. When they remade Resident Evil 1 on the GameCube, like, to this day, I think those are still some of the best graphics for the pre-rendered backgrounds. Now, they aren't doing that on the Resident Evil 2 remake. That kind of bums me out. Like, I wish they had kept it similar, because it almost looks like from the preview video that they showed that it's going to be like third-person style shooter a la like Resident Evil 4, that kind of thing. But going off of that, I'm thinking, well, are they going to up the action because of that? Is it going to be like going from Resident Evil 1, 2, 3 to Resident Evil 4, where I almost felt like, here is your thank you for playing these games with clunky controls, where it's hard to shoot things and you're always running out of ammo, to a game where it's like, okay, Resident Evil 4, you are going to murder fucking everything. And with that, with Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4, main hero, Leon S. Kennedy.
Your boy.
I fucking love Leon. I think he's a great character. I think they completely ruined his character in Resident Evil 6. Like, they just turned him into a dog turd. But like Resident Evil 4, you have this wisecracking, ass-kicking, fucking awesome person who is a bad enough dude to rescue the president's daughter.
Oh yeah.
To like being some overly
like Snake Plissken.
Yeah, overly moody piece of shit in 6. So like hopefully they don't fuck him up in 2. So far out of what I've seen, my major complaint from the video of the remake of Resident Evil 2 is Leon and Claire's faces look kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and from the trailers, what I saw is that they were really trying to elicit, like, if you remember the original trailer for Resident Evil 2 when it came out, like, when that game came out, I was fucking pumped. Like, I was like, holy shit.
That game was a fucking game changer when it came out.
Absolutely. Yes. And I felt that this trailer was trying to invoke some of that original feeling of the trailer.
I didn't get it at all then, if that's what they were going for. I mean, I'm still really, really, really fucking excited, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, this is the game I've been waiting for. I wish they would have done it on the Cube in the same way that they did, Remake or Resident Evil 0. That was another really good one, too.
It is actually a good point that you bring up, that they never remade Resident Evil 2 on the GameCube. As you said, the remake for the first game was spectacular. And I'm going to admit something. I never played it. I never owned a GameCube, so I never played it.
I mean, it's sad, but that's legit. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people will say otherwise, but I didn't think that there was a ton on the GameCube that was really worth having. All of my favorites that came out on it were Capcom games. So you've got like Killer 7 and the Resident Evils, that kind of thing. Resident Evil 4 is in probably my top 5, maybe even my top 3 favorite games. So that's the game, like out of all the games that I've played, that's the one that I've played through and completed more than anything else. Like,
hot damn.
I fucking love that game.
All right, move on. Next thing.
Move on. The next thing that I'm really fucking excited about, and I know you are too, is the new Doom Eternal.
Oh, yeah. Whoo! I am very excited about that shit. And apparently it's gonna be reminiscent of Doom 2. So it's basically takes place on hell-ravaged Earth. Fuck to the yes.
I'm in for that.
Hell yeah. I'm like, listen, Doom, when that came out, I've been excited. I've been tracking that game since it was Doom 4. And then what's this fuck left and went to Oculus and then got sued into oblivion. But I've been tracking it since then because I really loved Doom 3 when it came out. I know a lot of people.
I got it and I played a little bit of it. I never finished it, unfortunately.
I fucking went all the way with that shit. It was more like Resident Evil meets Doom, like Resident Evil 1 meets Doom, because it was more of like a scare. Like,
right, yeah, there were scare moments definitely in it.
And it was a slow game. And I think Dead Space actually picked up a lot of cues from Doom 3. And I like Dead Space a lot.
Oh, man, Dead Space is incredible. I fucking love that game.
Anyways, going back. So, Doom Eternal. I thought it was, like, too soon. I'm like, didn't Doom just come out? Like,
well, when I think about it, like, when you say Doom, a lot of people refer to it as Doom 2016. So, we're 2 years off of that now. I don't think it's too soon because I'm ready for more. I want more fucking Doom now, especially if it's like this.
Oh yeah.
And my thoughts and opinions on first-person shooters is like a lot of people play them because of the multiplayer, like death matches and that kind of thing, and that's what they care about. I don't give a shit about that because I don't want to play online with anybody. I love campaign-style games where I'm playing a story.
Yeah.
And Doom 2016 really fucking did it for me, so I'm ready for more.
So that's you and I actually, and I wanted to. I don't know if we should do an episode on this or if this is a segue or what we go. There's only one multiplayer element to a game I ever liked, and it was because of a really trollish reason on my part. So I really like the Killzone series. It's very controversial. People don't like it. But I really love Killzone 2, and I loved Killzone 2 multiplayer because there was an element of it where you could use a knife, and then they had a character preset where basically you were in disguise, so you could run around to the other side of the map, be in disguise as the enemy, and then run up and knife motherfuckers. And it just had this sweet knifing animation, and it would piss the people the fuck off.
So you just did it because people hated it then.
But it was fun because it was, to me, like the pace and just I suppose the mix of it was fun to me. Whereas the other, I've never given a shit about Call of Duty or Halo. I can give two fucks. I don't like multiplayer. I just, when they announce a multiplayer aspect to a game, I'm like, bleh.
Unless it's like co-op.
It's different.
Because when I played the first Halo game, I played that co-op with a buddy, and I had a good time with that.
Co-op is not multiplayer.
It's sort of.
I feel like the distinguished being is like the multiply massive online aspect of it, and that was one of the games that they brought up that a lot of people got excited about, and I just don't give two shits about. Anyways, next game, Doom Eternal, yes, all day long.
Fuck
I agree.
Yeah. Next game I want to talk about, Death Stranding.
Yeah, girl.
Because I know a lot of people are looking for big things. You've got Kojima.
Yeah.
Famously did the Metal Gear Solid games. Worked at Konami.
I could tell you the plot line of the game. I already know it. I know exactly what it is.
Hit me.
Okay. All right. So, it's Kevin Costner playing a postman in a post-apocalyptic world, and he's delivering packages. That's the plot of the game.
I was watching the... So I had my own theory, too. I was watching the video for it as they, announced it. And the first 2/3 of the video is just showing fucking Norman Reedus with a giant backpack walking around, stumbling all over the land.
But if you noticed, every time they cut, it was a different backpack. It was a different
bigger
size.
and bigger and bigger, and there was like a person in one of them.
You're like, what?
And I was just like, what the fuck this is such a Kojima game, if
Yeah.
that was the case. And then finally they get to part where there's these shadowy things. I will just say this, like, I have played a couple of the Metal Gear Solid games, but, like, I can't invest into the later ones because how ridiculous it gets and how convoluted the story is and just how intense everything is. Like, if I'm playing a game, I don't have 2 hours to sit and watch a cinema play.
That's what I feel about any BioWare game. I can't get into any Mass Effect games at all. I don't like any of them. And this is a controversy, at least in my family, because my brother loves Mass Effect, and I think it's the dumbest game ever. My argument is, if I wanted to watch a movie, I'm just going to sit and watch a movie. I don't want, because it switches between long cinematic conversation tree and then moving, then switches back to cinematic, then goes back to conversation tree. And when I want to play, I want to play. Play, gotta play.
Yeah, I'm being hypercritical of Death Stranding as it is right now.
I'm sure it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be absurd.
It might be really cool. I know one of my friends is going to play through it, and he's probably going to love it, and I'll watch him play it, and I'll be like, what the fuck is going on? I may get it myself. I don't really know. But, I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a game that people have been waiting for. Like, Kojima's making games. He's got Norman Reedus. You know,
Guillermo del Toro's in it. Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, and I mean, these are people who are, you know, moving over from the Silent Hill that was supposed to be, that got canceled. So
Konami's stupid.
Oh my god, they're so stupid. I won't even start on how they fucked over Castlevania, which used to be the only thing that really would get me excited, and now I'm back to nothing gets me excited. And
except for your own death, maybe.
Yeah, that's the one thing to look forward to.
So what else?
So, as we discussed before, like, I have a PS4, which I think is the best. I'm going to keep saying this all the time, which is the best system to come out since the Super Nintendo. Like, a PS4, and I've got a Switch. The only thing that really interests me that is on the Switch is Octopath. But I'm still going to kind of take a wait-and-see thing on that because I'm not so much into JRPGs anymore, Japanese role-playing games, if you don't know that, because I just, like, don't have the time or the energy to play that shit anymore. But, like, nothing on the Switch interests me, but here we're getting more stuff on the Xbox One that is interesting me.
Really?
And,
do tell.
Like, I never really wanted one, so what got announced was their Cuphead, the delicious last course, got announced. So add on 2 more Cuphead, which that game, when it was first announced, that really fucking got me going. So here's this run and gun / shooter type game that uses these amazing hand-drawn images. It's like 1930s cartoon in motion that you control. So first of all, that's amazing. Some of my buddies have got it, whether it's on PC or whatever. That's a cool thing. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't know how to computer, so I don't have a PC. I have a Mac. I can't get it on Steam, which is the other format that it's on, so I can't play it. So the new Cuphead gets announced, and then a new Gears of War game. So previously there had been Gears of War 4, and I didn't look too much into that because I'm like, okay, there's nothing that interests me on the Xbox One. I don't care. Now another Gears game gets announced. The other Gears of War's games I really enjoyed because, again, they had a great campaign mode in it. Judgment, not so much. I really wish that were a better game because here we've got, you know, a Gears of War game that has Baird and Coltrane as your main characters, and you're thinking this is going to be an action comedy, like fucking romp through, where you're doing all kinds of cool shit, and it tried to be like the most serious of them, and it just didn't come out right. But anyways, for the most part, I really enjoy the Gears of War's game, so, like, now that there's 2 new ones, you know, one that's already out, one that's going to be coming out, maybe I can see myself getting back into that too, and then having Cuphead also to play. What else I'd want to play, I don't know. But then again, I have 2 games on the Switch. And I really wanted those. Really wanted Bayonetta. I mean, I love it. So we'll see.
All right. What else?
What else? Really weird. From Software. So famously, they do like the Dark Souls games, that kind of thing. They are doing a remake, an update of a game called Metal Wolf Chaos. So a very interesting game to choose. It was released, I want to say on the original Xbox, but only in Japan. I don't know if it got released over here. But basically, you're the president. You're in a mech, and you're fighting shit off.
Wait, that sounds amazing.
It does sound amazing.
I want to be the president in a mech.
It is a really weird choice from Software. Like, a lot of people expected them to release or announce Bloodborne 2, because that's real hot. But the other game that they announced, I forget what it's called, because there is 3 games that got announced that are basically the same thing. It's like feudal Japan Dark Souls.
Hold on. I have... Is it Ghost of Tsushima?
It's not that one. That one, I think, is from Sucker Punch. And the other one is Neo 2. And then the other one is the one from Software, I think. I might be completely wrong and an idiot right now, but...
That's fine.
Tsushima, I'm sorry. Not Tsushima. Tsushima. Which... The video for that, the graphics in that game are fucking out of this world. But yeah, there's a particular scene where you're in like a field of wheat or some other kind of grain. Looks incredible. It reminds me of Genjiro's stage from Samurai Shodown 2. It's the same thing, a big field of wheat moving in the wind. Yeah, developed by Sucker Punch for Ghost of Tsushima. Fuck. And my phone just died.
And there's that. So what else? Is there anything else off the top of your head that you can...
Other interesting things. A new Battletoads game was announced. I mean, we didn't see anything of it, but there's going to be another fucking Battletoads game. So now when you call GameStop looking for Battletoads, it'll actually be for the new one and not the NES version.
Oh, that's funny.
So I think that's an interesting choice. But I guess it's not too... Excuse me. I guess it's not too off because, I mean, people are still doing Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. And they spruced up that game, didn't they? Turtles in Time?
I don't know. Maybe. Fuck Turtles.
Fuck them. So I have a different set of things that I'm excited about, I suppose. So I'm really down for Last of Us 2. I was a latecomer.
Shit, I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah. I was a latecomer to that game. I think it came out PlayStation 3 and then it was re-released on PlayStation 4 as like an upgraded thing. And I think got
that was the first game to get like the full like take advantage of PS4 shit.
Yeah. So I that's when I played it and was absolutely blown away by the story, the whole thing. And I just thought it was a really just refreshing take. So seeing footage of the new one, because I know that it's been in production for a while, I don't think anyone was surprised by that. So I'm super excited about that, super excited about the perspective and where it's going to go. Then there's the Ghost of Tsushima. The Spider-Man game looks like it's by Sucker Punch. And so
yeah, same developer as Ghost of...
So Sucker Punch did the Infamous series. So they did their own spin on like a superhero powered thing. And so they're getting their hands on an actual superhero, Spider-Man. And I thought that Infamous, the mechanics of it, how it worked, was amazing. So if they actually get their hands on Spider-Man, I'm pretty excited about what that's going to be. Noah 2 was announced.
Neo
2 was announced. Then God of War is getting a Game Plus mode at some point in time. Don't know when. They didn't. So I was reading an article because like I want it right now in my life because I beat the game and I want to play it again, but I don't want to start fresh. So they haven't even started that, or they didn't even start that until after the game was released. So it might be a hot minute before we get that mode. I'm very excited for when that comes out. Another thing, so from Bethesda's got a whole bunch of hot shit coming out. So Rage 2. I know a lot of people were not excited about the first Rage game. Came out, I believe, 2010 or 2011, or maybe 2012. Fuck, I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It was the main character was certainly boring, but I thought that the world and the mechanics were really hot, and I love that post-apocalyptic, like waking up, like what the fuck's going on?
Hot
shit.
right now.
It's real hot right now, and I just thought it was like if Doom didn't have demons in it, basically, and so I really liked. I liked it. And you could drive around in vehicles and upgrade your vehicles in the first game. Like, fuck yeah, you do races, and it's kind of like absurd mutants. And the game wasn't. I mean, I would give the game a 6 as far as execution, but like an 8 or a 9 as far as concepts presented. So, Rage 2, as some of the scenes and things going behind it is like it's like Doom meets Borderlands.
Okay.
Now that
sounds really good.
Fucking about. Like, I'm about that life. So very excited about that. We already talked about Doom Eternal. Wolfenstein 2 is getting a DLC called Youngblood's not coming out till next year. It's involving BJ Blazkowicz's kid. So for me, I never played the first remake of Wolfenstein. I played Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, and I fucking loved the shit out of that game.
I watched my friends play a chunk of that, and it looked pretty good. Yeah,
it's fun. It's a really fun game to play. So a sizable, meaty expansion, if you will, to that game I'm really excited about. Obviously, Fallout 76 was announced as a big hoorah. I'm a huge Fallout fan. I'm not excited about a multiplayer aspect of it. I can give two shits.
I'm definitely not excited about it at all.
I'm not holding out, like, I'm withholding judgment as far as the execution, but Elder Scrolls Online is a fucking terrible game. It was so if it's anything like Elder Scrolls Online, fuck this game. Now, I love Fallout. I love Fallout so much, and I'm hoping that they do something interesting with it, but I doubt it.
You're not going to hold your breath because you might die.
I'm not going to be surprised if I'm disappointed. And I'm not going to
expect nothing, and I'm still disappointed.
Exactly. So, Bethesda also announced Starfield, which is I suppose their sci-fi entry into, it's a whole new IP, but it's announced for next gen. Next gen, as far as I know, is not coming out before 2020. So PS5 and the next Xbox won't even be out until 2020. So it's interesting that they announced the game for a system that is still technically not announced. Yeah. Although Xbox did reveal that they are working on the next Xbox. But
did this one just fucking come out?
I mean it's 5.5 years into its life cycle already. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like it
doesn't. And like PS3 went for the longest fucking time too. But
7 years.
It didn't feel like it at all.
Yeah. So there's that. And then at the end of this whole thing, they announced Elder Scrolls 6. Now, allegedly, it's not in development yet. They won't even start development until Starfield is done. Now, it's been since 2011 since Skyrim came out.
I fucking love that name. For all the wrong reasons. I would never play that game, but just because it's called Skyrim.
Yeah, just rimming that
sky.
Who
named it?
I don't fucking know.
Who thought that was a good idea?
Todd Howard, maybe? I don't know.
That, to me, is a sexual move you do on an airplane. Like, you are in an airplane, you go into the bathroom, Skyrim.
Absolutely. I love that game. Legit, straight up, enjoyed it. But to me, it's absurd. And I don't believe them when they say that it's not in development. Because it kind of did like this.
I mean, even just planning it out, isn't that development on its own right there? I don't know.
Right. I don't know. I'm excited about it. But they're saying that it won't start development until Starfield's done, which means that it won't be until next gen. So it means that PS4 went without a Elder Scrolls game for its entire life. And I don't count the remake of Skyrim as a proper follow-up. It'll be a full 10-year period, basically. That it'll be more than that. It'll probably be 2021 by the time that... Yeah, 10 years between Elder Scrolls games. That's a ridiculous development delay. Anyways, there's that. Ubisoft has Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I know there's some controversy. I only like 2 Assassin's Creed entries. I like Black Flag, and I like Origins. I don't like any of the other games.
I played about a quarter of the way through the first one.
I couldn't do it, and I did too. I did not like... The first game was clunky. Second game got better, but it just didn't hook me. I didn't like it. I don't give a shit about Ezio. But the mechanics for Black Flag are absolutely amazing. The seamless transition between land and sea dynamics, being a pirate, exploring Nassau in that time and age, amazing. And then I really like Origins because you get to go to ancient Egypt, and they realize that world wonderfully. So Odyssey takes place before Origins, and it takes place in Greece. And I fucking love me them Greeks. Greek and Roman history, I'm all about that shit. So I'm excited for that. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was also announced. That's a big thing for people. I'm going to be honest with you, I've never played the game, so I don't understand the boner factor on that. But
I haven't either.
It's a thing. Probably maybe the biggest direction, the boner exploding thing, was Cyberpunk 2077. Holy fuck. It's everything I could ever want in a video game.
That is
forever, period.
As much as I would like to think that Resident Evil 2 Remake is the big thing, that seemed to me like the biggest thing from this show.
Oh, yeah.
Cyberpunk.
So it was announced that it's a first person. That was a little bit of a controversy because a lot of games are third person over the shoulder. So even God of War over the shoulder, Witcher over the shoulder, a lot of games. So it's first person. But, basically what they're saying is to soak in all of the detail and get the full experience, it has to be first person. I don't give a shit. I'm going to do that. Hell yeah. I'm all about it. So that's like the biggest thing for me. Like Cyberpunk, Blade Runner-esque aesthetic, future technology shit. Oh, God.
I'm really glad it wasn't steampunk.
Oh, yeah.
1777 or some shit.
That would have been a steaming pile of shit. No. So that's like the biggest thing for me. Devil May Cry 5 was announced.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot to say something about that. Right.
So there's that. Go ahead. Say your piece.
Just from that. So, like I said earlier in talking about Resident Evil 2, I'm not happy with the faces that they do for that. Like, the face fucking shit that they did for Devil May Cry 5, like, that's really intense.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on with the dude? Like, they made him all fucked up in the face.
I don't know.
You know what the other controversy was? That people don't like Solid Snake's ass in Super Smash Bros.
I was going to say some shit about that. I was going to say that, like, I had seen a thing where someone was complaining that they made Samus's boobs smaller, but everyone's fucking up in arms because Snake's ass is, like, concave. Like, it's gone. Everyone wants Snake ass in their life.
Who doesn't want Snake ass in their life?
It's not a life worth living if you can't get it.
So there's that. Another game, and I think this is a very underappreciated game overall, Dying Light 2 was announced. I really enjoyed the first Dying Light. I know that it pissed a lot of people off because it's a challenging game, but I thought it was a really fun, interesting, made-up world. You're sort of like, there's sort of zombies in it, but they're not zombies. There's some sort of outbreak, and you're in this imagined Middle Eastern country that's quarantined off, and you're dropped in, and you have to like find your way out. And it's like parkour, and it has a bunch of different elements to it.
Sounds very French.
It's definitely I forget. It's a Polish developer, maybe.
Okay.
Shit, I don't know, dude. It's fun. It's hard, like me, but it's fun, also like me. Mega Man 11 was announced.
Capcom has fucked Mega Man.
But here's the thing, though.
All for it.
Is it better than what's his fucks? What was the dude?
Oh, Mighty Number 9? I'm sure it's fucking way better than that.
Yeah, Mighty Number 9 was just total trash, apparently.
Yes. It was really fucking bad.
I was really excited for it. I was like, absolutely. And then all the reviews started coming in, and all of these like super huge nerds for that dude were like, yeah, like they were looking for reasons to love it, and they just couldn't justify how shitty the game was. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be skipping that shit. So that was announced. Metro Exodus. I've never really been interested in Metro games prior to this.
I have no idea about them either.
But I saw the trailer, and it just kind of reminded me of like Resident Evil meets Fallout meets a few other, like, it looked really interesting, and there's like these crazy monsters in it, and I'm like, what? Because I think there's like Metro Last Light, Metro Sexual, Metro something or another.
Yeah.
I really wasn't interested in any of those games prior to, and honestly, I don't even know what the game's about. I just saw the trailer, and I'm like, oh, this might be a thing I'm into. So there's that. Shadow of Tomb Raider. I'm very excited about. I've really dug the new Tomb Raider games. I don't know about you. I don't know what your feels.
I didn't even want to find out about any of the new Tomb Raider stuff because Tomb Raider, and I just don't give a shit about Tomb Raider.
I didn't care either, honestly. But I picked up the first remake for a relatively low price, and I was like, man, fuck it. And I was really pleasantly surprised. So I thought that it was actually compelling and interesting, and I picked up the second one, and I got the 20th or the whatever anniversary of PlayStation version of that. Fucking amazing game, beautiful, super fun to play, great story. So I'm excited for number 3 because I think they've done a really good job so far with that game series of actually making it fun and thrilling. I mean, imagine, I would say it's like a more challenging Uncharted and with a woman.
Okay.
But less quick time events and more actual video game playing.
I can't stand Uncharted games.
I will tell you,
whoever wrote those fucking games, I want to punch them in the face. Like
directly in the
fucking
face?
Forced one-liners.
Yeah.
I have never personally played any, but I have seen, like, one of my best friends has played all of them, and I'll sit there and watch him play it, and I just I rage inside my head when I think about those games. Like, let's try to make this guy be really funny. Ooh, Nathan Drake.
I'm not won over by his charm. Like, I'm not...
There's no charm there in my
I
opinion.
don't... Like, it doesn't work for me.
People love these games, though.
I enjoyed the first one because it involved World War II. I'm a history dork, so I'm all about that kind of shit. I liked number 4, actually. I just have like this weird...
How many are there even? I don't even fucking know.
I think there's 4 proper sequels, and then there's some other sub shit in there. I don't know. I will just say that I enjoyed number 4 because you're in the Caribbean, and on the PS Pro, games that take place in like the Caribbean look fucking amazing, and I just want to go there and live. Then SoCal 6.
I did the same thing when I looked at it. I was like, "What number are we at now?"
I think that's Soul Calibur
Yes.
6. So to be honest with you, the only Soul Calibur I actually liked, besides the original, I played it in the arcade, was Soul Calibur 4 because it had Star Wars characters, and I loved fucking playing between Yoda and Darth Vader. And then if you were real fucking baller and pimp, you unlocked the Apprentice, and you could play as him. And I got all that shit unlocked. And so I enjoyed Soul Cal 4 for that reason, but I don't really like any other games, I'll be honest with you. So I don't even really, it's announced and, maybe. So what's interesting is there are a few games that weren't shown at all. That was really disappointing. So we had all this stuff going on. Again, we didn't even unpack very much, I don't think, of what happened, but Final Fantasy VII wasn't talked about at all.
No. Well, I guess I'm not really
It's
surprised.
been in proper development, though, for quite a while. Borderlands 3, not a mention. And I'm pretty sure it's in development. No mention of it. If Bethesda can announce the idea of a video game, Take-Two could at least announce, or Gearbox, sorry, or is it Gearbox? Yeah, Gearbox does Borderlands. They could at least say, hey, this is in development. You're welcome. They didn't. And then Red Dead Redemption 2, no show. We got the trailer. It's coming out, I believe, this fall. I'm actually pretty excited about that game. So we'll see about that. And then the big thing that people got all fucking like boner and this is like the top of everyone's list, is this game called Anthem. And I can give 2 absolute fucks over that game. Number one, it's only online. There's some campaign elements to it, but it's all on a single server. And again, it's another, I don't know if it's post-apocalyptic or space future shit. I'm not really sure where it falls in. Basically, people are saying it's kind of like a Destiny ripoff, but it has jetpacks. So it's amazing, guys. Jetpacks.
So it's like the future with this game.
I guess.
Like with jetpacks and stuff.
And it's only online, and what makes it unique is that it's all on a single server, and everyone experiences the same event. So the idea, I was listening to the developer talking about it, which is basically like, it's like going home and watching an episode of Game of Thrones, and you go to work the next day and talk about this amazing event. So they will time specific things that happen in the game that happen across the world at the same time for everyone that's playing, and it only happens that once. And so they want to make it like
That's going to upset a lot of people.
Again, number one, I could give 2 shits about massive online multiplayer games. I've never given 2 shits about World of Warcraft. I'm just not interested. So it just looked like Destiny 3 to me, and I don't give a shit. And I know that's probably pisses a lot of people off because that's like all they're interested in, but I just don't care. A single player experience or co-op experience only. So that is all of my E3 notes.
Shout out to my boy Tokyo Punch-Out for his Quake piece at E3. Just gotta say that.
Hells yeah. All right, if that's all we have.
That's all I've got.
All right, well, you've been listening to Two Poor Bastards. I'm Eric.
I'm Kyle.
We will see you next time while he doesn't choke.